I am Tony Toich with Keller Williams Atlanta Perimeter. I am an Atlanta, Georgia based real estate agent doing what I can to help other agents get better at what they do. And I sat down today with John Barrentine, a top producing agent out of Los Angeles, California. Man's been in business for quite some time, so you might want to listen to what he has to say about being successful in real estate. I had actually minored in real estate in college because one of my friend's fathers, who did commercial real estate, was going
Right.
to have me take over his business. But I
Yep.
decided to chase the acting bug instead of going into that. So I sort of kicked myself, but sort of not because I chased. I don't want to
How'd
wake
that
up.
work out for you?
You clearly don't know who I am. So like I'm not a movie star. I'm not on billboards. It didn't work out. Except, I'm not going to wake up and be 80 one day and be like, I didn't give it a shot, right? And that's what
Right.
I'm proud of that,
Well,
right?
and what incredible training acting is for real estate, right? I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
you've got a shy real estate agent that doesn't really know what to do and doesn't really know how to talk to people, the greatest thing they could do is take an improv class, right? I mean, to be able to be light on your feet and to be able to improv and be able to have an impromptu conversation, I think is genius. And I've had to learn that, and I'm pretty quick, on my feet and nimble in conversations, and isn't that everything, right, in our business? So for those folks that are shy or that are uncomfortable, the greatest thing they can do is get uncomfortable in an improv class. I think it's
Absolutely
amazing
is.
training. We see so many people from the acting business that are sort of actors on the side, but are real
Mm-hmm.
estate, by day kind of thing. And they do well, right? They're used to rejection. They're used to putting themselves out there. They're used to being uncomfortable. They're used to sitting there with the person across from them while the discomfort's taking place. Like all of those things are a plus, right?
Mm-hmm. My team leader at my office is a former actor who was doing
Yeah,
real estate and acting at the same time, right? So
it
it's
is.
yeah, it is a great job. It is a great combination,
Yep. We kind of
for
laugh and
sure.
poke fun at it, but it's a great training ground. It's a
It
great
really
training.
is.
As long as we realize we still are in the people business, right? And we still have
Yep.
to stay in relationship with our clients. And so that I think that is the challenge that technology has given us is, to not be held captive to our screens, right? To get out from behind our screens and to be face to face, with those clients in some way and really communicating.
Mhm. And I think that's a challenge that a lot of younger realtors are dealing with, just
Yes,
because they are so
no
used to
question.
and again, we want to meet the client where they're at. However,
That's it.
if it's an older client, then they might be used to the face to face thing. We had a listing appointment yesterday. I sat in to help this agent. She had not done that price point yet, and she's like, "Tony, will you come sit with me?" I said, "Absolutely." So, and the woman we met with, she was 80. So as soon as we walked out, I said, "Write this woman a thank you card right now. Do you have any in
That's
your
it.
car?" Right? And she said, "No." I went to my, opened up my back of my trunk, pulled out some thank you cards, said, write it right now and put it in
You're a smart
her
man.
mailbox, because
That's it.
she will respect that. I promise you that. Like that's a lost
Absolutely.
art form.
And maybe the business is changing, and I'm sure it is.
Mhm.
In that as younger generations step into the buying world, maybe we're not communicating with them in the same way.
Mhm.
Absolutely. But yet we still have to find a way to remain in relationship with them, and the ways of communication will change, no question. But the relationship and how we get there and how that relationship is formed and maintained remains constant, right? And it and it's
Mhm.
and it's being in relation with them over an extended period of time that they know, like, and trust us, right? That I don't know that changes over generations, but I think how
Mhm.
we ultimately meet them and how we get in touch with them and how we communicate with them will absolutely change. And maybe that is an on-screen relationship, and that's totally cool. Time will tell on that. Well, let's start with my mistakes, right?
Yeah, there we go. Hey.
Let's get them out there. Well, I would say my greatest mistake and my biggest weakness is exactly what I've been talking about, right? Which is remaining in consistent relationship with clients and not working my database from the beginning and treating my business like a business, right? And
Mhm.
so I was mature, immature, right, at
Yeah.
25 when I got the business. And so that first decade, that 25 to 35, I was selling real estate. I wasn't in the business of real estate. I was selling real estate. And those are two very different things. And so had I worked at my business from the beginning, the way that I treat my business now, I would be much further along in my career. There's no question about it. And I'm so in awe of these guys that are coming along that have great models and great, role models and great business models for business in the moment that can step into the business the right way. Like when I
Hmm.
started, there was no education, right? You had a broker, you
Yeah.
had some people you could model in your office that might have been doing something successfully, but there was no education. There was no
Hmm.
formal anything, right? Treating your business like a business from the very beginning is everything. Some of our greatest friends have come through this business. I mean, I would say that
Hmm.
real estate is one of those really great screening tools for people in your life, right? I mean,
Right.
if you meet them and you see them under pressure, like you take them and you put them in a vice, is essentially what a
Hmm.
transaction is, right? And you squeeze them a little bit and the juice comes out. And sometimes it's bitter and sometimes it's sweet and sometimes
Yeah.
it's, and so you get to see who they really are, right? Are they
Hmm.
people of integrity? How do they react, in those situations? How do they react to stress? You know who they are as people at the end of that transaction. You're like, I want you in my life, or bless you, go your way, and when the next transaction. We don't need to
Hmm.
hang out, right? But so many of our friends, like we're having dinner with, and we're traveling with, and we're having drinks with, and we're visiting with, and we're going to and it's great. It's been an amazing thing. That integration of business and personal is just
Hmm.
seamless now.
What do you think? Do you have a superpower? Like, what made you successful? Mine was like follow up and just like relentless. I need to work smarter. I will work super hard. Like, but what about you?
Right?
What's your superpower?
I probably have three.
All right.
I'm told. I'm told. Well, one I'm really clear about. The other two I'm told. Probably my greatest superpower is empathy, right?
Hmm.
I can walk into a room and feel pretty much everything. So I can sense my way through most situations. So I'm really great in negotiations because I understand where everyone is if
Hmm.
they're being transparent in any way. And even if they aren't, I can sometimes, figure it out. So
Gotcha.
I'm really great in a deal. I'm great in a transaction. The other is perseverance I'm the massager. So I'm the one that's massaging the deals to close.
Hmm.
All of the transactions coming through really in the past like couple of years have been tough, right? And when the market gets jittery, clients get jittery, transactions are odd, right? And so it all is that all it's all the same energy and it all kind of attracts itself into this little ball of complication. And a few things sail through smoothly as they would have 5, 7 years ago. But in general, there's a little friction on everything right now, and they're complicated, and I'm great at that. We find a way forward. We keep talking. We keep people engaged. We give people hope. We keep
Hmm.
moving forward. We keep looking at the goal. We keep, it's really great. And I've so enjoyed, we've been doing a lot of Phil Jones training. We're enjoying the approach to those conversations and
Hmm.
what's working now. And I'm a student of really everything real estate, but that's made a big difference. The third, so that's one and two. The third one is I have a Southern accent. And so they're like, okay, you make the call. You call and tell them the bad. It's like
Seems a little softer coming from
somehow
the
in
southern.
LA, when it comes from my voice, and somehow they say it sounds better, and I love and I'm appreciative of that. And then thank you.
Mhm. And I'll tell you what. So you're super like empathy, being able to read the room, being able to feel out of situations is such a strong skill set to have, and cannot you when you think about it, because we are dealing with so many emotions in this, right? And you are, and again,
Yeah.
you said the other one, massaging the deal, right? Because we have to massage the deal. There has been a lot of friction because prices have
Yes.
gone up so much. Interest rates
Yes.
are not. I mean, they're historically average, but the feeling is that they're high because prices have gone so high. Right? So everyone's expectations on both sides of the deal are super high, and then it's like, how do you get, we said make it win-win. How do we get to the finish line? And that is our goal, right? Ego aside, everything
Managing
else aside.
expectation, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yes.
managing everyone's expectations, setting those expectations, moving them toward the reality of
Hmm.
the market of the moment, right? And
Yes.
then continuing to reinforce that and just continuing to manage the expectation. And you manage it in the moment, and then you let them go. You let them off the phone, or you let them, or from the conversation. You go back in 3 days, and it's a reset. And then they've gone back, they've reverted to their original thought pattern and process. And so then it's bringing them back again. It's like, okay, let's talk about this again. Like the market is speaking to you here. Like, are we listening? Like, are we paying attention to what the market is telling us? Right. And that constantly bringing people back to the reality of the market of the moment. I think you've got to be a realistic seller to step into this market. You got to have an agent that will tell you the truth. I think it's tough for those clients that are looking for people that will tell them what they want to hear. A few years ago, again, it didn't matter. Like anybody could tell you anything and you could pop it out there and it would fly. Like anybody could put up a sign in a yard and sell a house. Maybe not for the most amount of money possible, but for enough money that no one was complaining. People don't know what they don't know, and they leave money on the table every day not knowing what they don't know. And so real estate agents, I think, became a commodity during that time, which is, I think, why we're seeing the interesting blowback we're seeing in the moment. And as the market gets tougher and the conversations get tougher and experience pays off more, you've got to have an agent as a seller. You've got to have the right agent that will tell you the truth of the market in the moment and set a realistic expectation. And either you're in at that realistic expectation or you're not. And so to step into the market, well, if you're a seller at a price, it's just not the way forward in this market. I think you've got to be a realistic seller to step into this market. You got to have an agent that will tell you the truth. I think it's tough for those clients that are looking for people that will tell them what they want to hear. A few years ago, again, it didn't matter. Like anybody could tell you anything and you could pop it out there and it would fly. Like anybody could put up a sign in a yard and sell a house. Maybe not for the most amount of money possible, but for enough money that no one was complaining. People don't know what they don't know, and they leave money on the table every day not knowing what they don't know. And so real estate agents, I think, became a commodity during that time, which is, I think, why we're seeing the interesting blowback we're seeing in the moment. And as the market gets tougher and the conversations get tougher and experience pays off more, you've got to have an agent as a seller. You've got to have the right agent that will tell you the truth of the market in the moment and set a realistic expectation. And either you're in at that realistic expectation or you're not. And so to step into the market, well, if you're a seller at a price, it's just not the way forward in this market.
Do you have any tips for agents in this market from what you see to help them get better, help them survive, or anything at all in your thoughts and what they deal with right now?
For newer agents, welcome. I can congratulate. Like, if you can make it in this market, you can make it, right? I mean, what an amazing time to get started. Like the guys that got started 6, 7 years ago are struggling. You, my new friends, are stepping into a market that's tough. And so, cut your teeth on this one. And this is as tough as I've ever seen it, right? In my 5 years, and I've seen, I think, 4 downswings. I got into the market at a bad time, which is I'm thankful for. I got in during the S&L crisis in 1991, 92, which was, we were selling foreclosures. We were just selling different things. That's not the market. That's not this market. That was its own thing and its own tough time. This is unlike anything that we've seen for a number of reasons. Too much to go into here, but suffice to say that if you can find a way forward in this market, you will be successful in the long run, and good for you. For those agents that got in when it was easy, now's your time, to figure some things out. And either you're going to figure it out in this business, or you need to go find something else to do. That's the reality of it. And you can make more at minimum wage than a lot of people are making selling real estate right now. And that's, again, the reality of it. And then for those of us that have been around for a while, we get it. We know what it takes. You're either willing to do it still or you're not. And if you're willing to do it and you're up for it and you've got the support for it and the perseverance for it, it's still going to be fine, right? And there's still money to be made. We just have to be up to bat more times. We just have to have more listings because they're not all going to sell now. We've got to have more opportunities that we're creating in order to create that baseline of business that we expect.
And how do we get those opportunities? By talking to the people in our database.
That's it. That's it. Well, and the thing about us in our market is, like, LA's a big market. It's a loud market. It's a splashy, glamorous market, right? It can be. We can't compete in that space, right? Like, you cannot afford to buy $100 gifts, right? It just makes no sense, right? Wow. And they're going to all sorts of things, and people are throwing all kinds of swag at them. What we can do is wrap our arms around our clients. What our clients want is community. What our clients want is a hug. What our clients want is a feel good. That's who we are. That's what we do. And so we're not out to, throw lavish events that, that are going to compete with some red carpet thing. We can't do that.
Yeah, no.
they're already going to those things. Like they don't want that. They've already got that. And so
Mhm.
what they do want is to see us at their door smiling, saying, hey, we made something for you. I did this. I did this by hand. I didn't buy this. I made this for you. And it's tied up in a really beautiful bow. And it's got a really lovely message on it. And this is for you. And thank you for thinking of us during this year. Think of us more in 2025. We love you and we want you in our world. Like that's it. That's what they want. If it's a strategic thing, if it's a referral source we want, if it's a location we want, if it, there can be a business
Yes.
decision and a reason to say, yeah, we get it. We've told you what we believe because that's our ethical obligation as an agent, as a fiduciary, to tell them what's the truth. And then if they're saying, yeah, but we want to try it 200K higher, it's like, yeah. Or okay, sure. And under these conditions, and here's how and why. And so we're always at choice, right, in those business decisions.
I think one of the other biggest takeaways I had from talking to John just now, and this is something that is so important, especially for newer agents, you need to be able to tell sellers the truth about price on their home. Don't tell them what they want to hear. Tell them this is the reality. And from there, decide if they're going to overprice, whether it's worth your time to take the listing. Because it may not be worth taking a $2 million listing just because it's a $2 million listing. I've intentionally turned that down because the woman told me, Tony, if you don't sell this home in 2 months, we'll probably fire you. And a home that price point hadn't sold in under 6 months in the last 10 years. If you can't give me the average days on market for a price point on a home, even if it's $2 million, I'm not going to take the listing because I am setting myself up for failure. So that's just something to consider no matter what level listing you're taking. Is it worth your time and investment? Another item that John talked about was, hey, he has a maps coach. It's a high level maps coach. Even at his level, producing what he's producing, he's having somebody help him get better at what he does. Everybody needs that, no matter what. And I'm definitely finding help in getting better at what I do by having these conversations with top agents all over the country. It's giving me insight to how to build a bigger business. It's giving me insight to being better at what I do. And, I absolutely believe a coach is necessary. So considering a coach, no matter what level you're at, is maybe something worth investigating if you don't have one. That being said, I'm Tony Toich with Keller Williams Atlanta Perimeter. I do pay 35% referral fees for any agents that send me business here in Atlanta. So if you know someone who's looking to move here, maybe someone who's looking to sell, give me a call, send me an email. I'd love to see what I can do to help them. I believe in creating raving fans, giving Disney level service, creating clients for life. I tell every single one of my clients at the closing call, I'm not going away. I'm going to check in every quarter to make sure your home is in good shape and see if there's anything I can do to help you. That's my promise to everyone I take care of. So if there's anything I can do to help you, give me a call, send me an email, stay motivated.